welcome everyone to the virtual graduation ceremony for the 2019-2020 Professional Master's class of the Davidson School of Chemical Engineering. I think as Corwin mentioned in his email yesterday, this is usually a festive occasion on this very day. Usually it's a Friday evening when we all get together for a live banquet, but obviously given the circumstances this year, we can't do that. So hopefully this will do justice and really recognize your significant achievements over the past year and send you out, at least for those of you who are graduating, with a sense of accomplishment and recognition. So over the next 30 minutes, as I mentioned, I'll first hand the floor over to Dr. Kim for his perspective. I think Professor Chukka and Professor Varmus and also Professor Menser, all of whom, as you know, have made significant contributions to the program, as have many other faculty members. If they've been able to join, they'll also say a few words. Secondly, we'll go to the awards, which Corwin outlined in his email yesterday. Basically, the Scholastic Achievement Award will have to be deferred for a day or so because we're still calculating the grades. But there'll be an award today for the best capstone project and also the best research or PhD track project. And then finally, I will yield the floor to my colleague Corwin, who is, of course, the person that you've dealt with the most over the past year and really helps this program to be successful on a day-to-day basis. And he's really the consistent force behind its success. So we'll save the last comments for him before we adjourn again in about 30 minutes or so. So without further ado, let me hand it over to Dr. Kim.
Thank you, Professor Clark. So first, let me extend my congratulations to the graduating class of the Professional Master's students. Here we are in August 2020, and it seems like the year has zoomed by since when you arrived at Purdue, August of 2019. Obviously, this has been an unusual year because in March, we obviously had to go through a lockdown and everything changed second half of March, and the adventure is ongoing with the widespread availability of the vaccine, still a number of months away. Although I think we can be optimistic because as someone who has spent a significant part of my career in the pharmaceutical industry, I know that not every project goes from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 clinical trials. So the fact that a number of different vaccine projects with different underlying technologies have all advanced to phase 3 is really an amazing best case scenario in terms of our timeline. And it's my hope that once a vaccine becomes widely available, the pent-up demand in the economy will be unleashed. And in particular for chemical engineers, the career prospects will be as bright as it was back in January of 2020. And of course, with a professional master's degree from Purdue University's Davidson School of Chemical Engineering, I believe you have one of the most valuable master's degree that are currently available. We have, with a few more companies joining our roster, we have nearly 70 companies that collaborate with the school to a significant extent, including offering the capstone projects for our students. And so I think the strength of our program, which is the close collaboration with industry, which leads to opening of doors and career prospects, is as bright as ever. So I believe the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic is a temporary disruption. And I'm hoping that over the next few months, things will really brighten up for all of our students and, of course, our graduates as well. So, again, congratulations. I always enjoy participating in the graduation ceremony. It's unfortunate that we can't do it live, but it's a virtual ceremony. But I am very much looking forward to continued interactions with you as alumni, as well as while you were students. So thank you, and I'll hand it back to Professor Clark.
Oh, thanks very much, Dr. Kim, and we really appreciate your perspective, and I think this will really help send the graduating students out with some important things to consider. It is a difficult time, but as you mentioned, there's definitely reason for optimism also that things are going to get turned around soon. Before we go to the other three professors, I thought I'll sneak in a few more words just from my own perspective. First of all, like I said before, not just Professor Kim, myself, and the other three faculty members who will speak here in just a little bit, but basically the rest of the faculty of the Davidson School of Chemical Engineering, we all thank you for the contributions that you've made to the department. And we are really proud of your achievement, and your successes are really relished by the rest of the faculty members who hopefully have contributed to your success in some way. As Professor Kim said, it's been a challenging year. It's really required a lot of flexibility and adaptation, and it's been very admirable the way in which you've responded to all the challenges that have come up. I've just been incredibly impressed beginning in March with the upheaval that occurred at that point, not only in your academic coursework, but also particularly in the capstone projects and the PhD projects, how you've been able to really just kind of roll with the punches, so to speak, and really just stay focused on what you needed to achieve. And as I'll mention here, that what you delivered in the sense of your presentations, your reports, and all the other deliverables that occurred along the way, both for the capstone projects and the PhD projects, it's just been very, very impressive. This is the third year that I've been involved in the program. And so this is the third year that I reviewed the presentations and the final reports. And I can say for sure that this year, the quality of both the reports and the presentations have been at their highest, at least of my 3 years of being involved. So, of course, that's a tribute to you. That's a tribute to your faculty mentors and your industry mentors who have helped you along. And at the end of the day, at least with respect to the industry projects, the real proof in the pudding is if, so to speak, is if an industry mentor comes back to us and says, we really found value in what a student or a student team did. In fact, we're going to use the data or the information that team generated for this business purpose. And as many of you heard in your own presentations or through separate discussions, your mentors have articulated that along the way, that they have a clear goal of using the information that you've produced in your projects within the context of their own company. So there's no higher compliment than a company coming back to us as a department and also to you as individual students as a way of kind of signaling a reward for the work that you've done. So that's been great. And also the PhD projects, the feedback that we've gotten from the mentors has been excellent. Again, you got thrown a curveball with the pandemic and you weren't able to get into the laboratory as quickly as possible, but nevertheless, you were flexible, and now the light has been reached at the end of the tunnel, and you're able to actually get into the laboratory. And again, the mentors have been highly impressed and highly appreciative of your work. So my concluding comments are it's been just a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to work with you. I've been just incredibly impressed with your work ethic and your achievements. I know great things are in store for those of you who are graduating now, and those of you who will graduate in December. You'll make our department proud. We're quite certain of that. And we wish you all the luck in the world as you progress to the next stage of your career. And finally, we would really like and we would really appreciate any feedback that you might provide about how we can improve the program from a student's perspective and a student experience perspective. So when you have time, or if you have time to feed that information back to myself, Corwin, or whatever mechanism you think is appropriate, that would be highly, highly appreciated. So with that, I will, and again, if they are on, I will ask Professor Michelle Chutka if she might be willing to say a few words to you. She may not have been able to join if something came up. So why don't we move on to Professor Christina Farmas if she's on, and maybe we can circle back to Professor Chutka. Okay, so well, we're things may have come up, and then find. Oh, I see Professor.
I think Michelle
Chutka
just joined.
I don't know if Michelle, you might be ready to just say a few comments, not to put you on the spot. Well, I tell you what, let's let her get settled, and then Professor Menser, if you were able to join, would you be able to make a few comments to the class? Okay, we may be 0 for 3 here. Okay, so with that said, and maybe we can circle back if they become available after the awards. So let's move to the awards. And as I mentioned, we have 3 awards every year. There's a Scholastic Achievement Award, as I mentioned. We're going to be deferring the announcement on that until a day or so when the final grades are calculated. In terms of the Industry Capstone Award, I am really proud and honored to give this award to Sam Carew and Jaimea Hong. This was a really, really tough decision because, as I mentioned before, there were so many high quality projects and reports and presentations that were submitted this year. So it was very difficult this year. But Sam's and Jaimea's project, entitled Current Status of Biosimilars and Economic Analysis of Platform Approach for Product Implementation. So this was a biosimilars project with, the company was Catalent. This was just a state-of-the-art review of biosimilars from an industry perspective. And I'm quite certain that Catalent will make good use, as I was suggesting before. This is a very good example of the company, the Capstone company, making good use of the information that's been generated in the student project. So congratulations, Sam and Jaimea. And I think Corwin will be able to give you some more details afterwards about the award. But fantastic job. And again,
Professor Clark, I have a question.
Sure.
So we have outstanding capstone projects like this, and many of them, of course, are sponsored by the companies. So is the intent that only the company that sponsored it gets the report, or is it? And I know in some cases they're working. Students are working on things of great IP value and so on. And so I certainly understand the analogy with that situation. But I'm just curious whether a report like this would be something that we would share with, for example, other faculty and also other members of the Industrial Advisory Council and various other companies.
Yeah, it's Professor Kim. It's a great point. Sam and Jaimea, we will certainly follow up with you. My feeling is that there was really not anything specific in that particular report that would raise IP concerns. But of course, we would clear that with Catalent first. But I think that's something that's possible, Professor
Right.
Kim.
And the reason why I bring that up is from the student's perspective. As many companies see that work. And it's not just that particular report, but for that matter, any other report where the company doesn't have any objections, the wider circulation of the high quality work would spread the word around the 70 companies, almost 70 companies that are part of our ecosystem. And as I said, I know some of these companies have specifically mentioned things like hiring freezes and so on, but I do believe that that's going to be temporary. So if the companies are aware of the quality of the work, as soon as their hiring freezes are lifted and so on, that would be good for our graduates to have their work widely disseminated. So.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do think for that particular report, there wouldn't be major concerns, but we'll clear it with Catalent, and if they don't have a problem with it, we can certainly circulate it. So that's congratulations again to Sam and to Jaimea. On the PhD track side, again, it was a tough decision. The numbers weren't as large. But we're pleased to give this award to Samruddhi Patil, and her research with Professor Wan was investigating the use of PLGA polymer as a drug delivery system. So again, Samruddhi, congratulations for some fantastic work, and you'll be continuing that work in the department here in the very near future. So congratulations. And congratulations, by the way, again, to all the PhD track students. This was a new program this year that as soon as, or as a few of the kinks were worked out along the way, I take it that you had a good experience. And that, of course, is a testimony to our fantastic faculty members who were willing to mentor you, particularly during this challenging time. So congratulations for the award, to the awards winners. Again, very tough decisions, and congratulations once again to everyone on the project completion. I'll circle back one more time to see if Professor Chutka, Professor Farmas, or Professor Mensor might have been able to join.
Briefly, can you hear me okay? Is my video feed all right? All right, good.
Yeah, you're okay.
Great. Students, congratulations for everything that you've accomplished. It was my distinct honor and pleasure to get a chance to know many of you through our coursework together, many of you through Capstone, many of you through our own mentorship relationships. It's been just really remarkable to see your growth, your progress, your dedication to the program, and the spirit of enthusiasm, how that's evolved, especially in the face of all of the difficulties with the events of the past few months. So I know that this isn't going to be a speech on being resilient or persevering, but just savor this moment. It's been a wild ride, and you'll always have this to look back on. Your work has been phenomenal. And I wish you all the best. Please don't hesitate if you ever get the chance to let me know how famous you've all become.
Thanks very much, Michelle. Very much appreciated your kind words. I think we are fortunate to have Professor Varmus on now too, if she might be willing to say a few words also.
Hello, class. Hello, Dr. Kim. Hello, Bill. I have to say that of all the things that I regret not being able to do in the last 5 months is the opportunity to shake your hands today. So I always know that the banquet, the graduation banquet that Corwin puts together and the grad office team puts together, is one of the highlights of my academic year. And I regret the opportunity of not shaking your hand and congratulating you and meeting your parents and your families who are so proud of your accomplishment. Well, this is the best I can do. I can wish you good luck. I know you will work very hard. I know you will have opportunities that were not even dreamed of a month ago or a year ago. And I can't wait to keep in touch with you, to hear about the companies you're going to, the kind of jobs you're going to have. Hope you can continue to be connected on LinkedIn. And good luck with the rest of your career. You're on the right track.
Thank you very much, Professor Varmus. Again, very much appreciate those kind words. I'm sure I speak for the students. And then we'll give Professor Menser one more try here. I don't know if he's been able to join or not. Well, maybe not. Many of you got to know him well because of the 21 industry capstone projects this year. 7 of them were related to P2SAC, which those students who were on those projects came to know and love. So Professor Menser played a very integral role in those projects, and he really was just an amazing support mechanism for you, the students, but also in running P2SAC for the Davidson School of Chemical Engineering, which will only expand in the future. So we're winding down here, but as I mentioned at the beginning, I would be remiss if I did not give Corwin Green the opportunity to say a few words in closing. You all have gotten to know Corwin over the past year, even beyond that. When you went through the application process, you got to know Corwin, and he's, as I mentioned before, he's really what makes this operation run smoothly and efficiently, and we really owe a debt of gratitude to him in so many ways. So, Corwin, if you wouldn't mind, I know you stated it very eloquently in your email yesterday to the students, but if you wouldn't mind, just now that we're all together, maybe saying a few additional words before we close.
Sure, absolutely. I just want to echo everyone else's sentiments to you all. It's been a great year. It feels like every year each cohort gets better and better, and it's been fantastic getting to know you all over the last 12 months. I'm also sorry that we can't enjoy each other's company in person at our annual banquet, which is also a highlight of, I think, my academic year too, Christina. But yeah, you guys have been fantastic this last year, especially considering the circumstances that evolved over the last 5 to 6 months. So just keep up that resilience and perseverance. And I know that you guys are going to do great things when you leave the program. To those of you returning this fall, I'm excited to continue to work with you over the next couple months as you finish up your degree. And just a reminder that just because you're graduating doesn't mean that you're leaving the School of Chemical Engineering. You are and forever will be an alum of our school, and you will always have the ability to keep in contact with the graduate office and many of the faculty with the school. So I encourage you to do that. I'm sure you're going to hear from me every couple months or so just to check in on you and see how your progress is post-completion and make sure that you don't need anything from us. Just as we've been a resource for you during your time in the program, we will continue to be a resource for you after the program. So I just want to remind you of that and encourage you to keep in touch with us and let us know what you're up to. We always like hearing what you're doing after you leave the program. So congratulations to you all again. And I look forward to hearing from you again soon in the future.
Corwin, thank you very much. And I'll close by saying, and then I'll just, in case anybody else has any concluding comments, I'll just say again, congratulations. We wish you the best of luck. And kind of adding on to what Corwin said, we are here to help you in the future. Letters of recommendation, any ways that we can help, we're here to assist you as your careers advance, and we watch you achieve the success that we know that you're going to be able to attain. So just I'll give it one more shot for anybody, Professor Kim, anybody else who wants to make any concluding comments.
One promise I can make this graduating class, because we didn't have a banquet, maybe on your 10th year reunion, we can reconvene and have an extra special banquet and maybe remark on how much progress you've made in your careers in the 10 years. So that would be August of 2030. And hopefully I'm still alive. Huh?
We'll both be retired by then, I think. All right. Well, again, congratulations. Best of luck to everybody. And it's really been a pleasure and an honor to work with you over the past year. I know I speak for everyone in the department. So thanks a lot and take care.
Thanks, everyone. Congratulations again.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.